A book was published in 2023. Within months, China made it disappear. Not because it was fiction, not because it was wrong, because it was right. The book predicted, in precise detail, exactly how artificial intelligence would give any government complete, unbreakable control over its population. And then it described how to stop that from happening. China didn't ban the ideas it disagreed with. It banned the ideas it recognized. We're going to walk through every chapter, the technology it reveals, the governments it names, and the one prediction buried in Chapter 9 that no mainstream outlet has talked about. Who wrote this, and why it matters? The book is called The Coming Wave. The author is Mustafa Suleyman, co-founder of DeepMind, one of the most advanced AI labs on the planet, now CEO of Microsoft AI. This is not a journalist guessing about the future. This is an architect of the technology describing, from the inside, what it will actually do. And here's why that matters. When a tech journalist warns about AI risks, governments can dismiss it. When the person who built the AI warns about AI risks, in writing, with evidence, governments start paying attention. Some governments started paying attention in the right way. And one government, the most AI-invested country in the world, decided the public shouldn't read it at all. We'll get to exactly which policy triggered the ban in a moment. But first, what does the book actually say? The 4 arguments. Argument 1. The wave is already here, and it cannot be stopped. Suleyman opens by laying out what he calls the coming wave, a convergence of AI, synthetic biology, quantum computing, and robotics arriving simultaneously. Not one breakthrough, 4, at once. He argues this has never happened in human history. Every previous technological revolution arrived in sequence. We had time to adapt. This time, we don't. Argument 2. Every previous technology could be contained. This one can't. Nuclear weapons required uranium. You can restrict uranium. Chemical weapons required specific precursors. You can monitor them. AI runs on code. Code can be copied infinitely. Code crosses borders in milliseconds. Suleyman calls this the containment problem, and he admits he doesn't have a solution. A man who built the technology, admitting it cannot be controlled. That's not a warning. That's a confession. Argument 3. AI makes authoritarian states nearly unstoppable. This is the chapter that changed everything. Suleyman walks through, systematically, what a government with full access to advanced AI can actually do. Real-time surveillance of every citizen, predictive policing before a crime is committed, automated propaganda that adapts individually to each person's psychology, economic control through digital currency programmed with spending restrictions. The disturbing part isn't that he's warning this could happen. He's describing systems that already exist, in prototype, inside China's borders right now. And his conclusion is stark. A democracy and an authoritarian state, given the same AI, the authoritarian state weaponizes it faster. Because there are no courts to challenge it, no press to expose it, no opposition to vote it out. That paragraph alone is enough to get a book banned. But it's not the most dangerous paragraph. Argument 4. The only people who can stop this are individuals who understand it. Suleyman's 4th argument breaks from the doom entirely. He argues that the containment of AI is not a government problem or a corporate problem first, it's a literacy problem. Societies that understand what AI actually is, what it can and can't do, are societies that can demand guardrails, vote correctly, build regulations that work. Societies that don't understand it, they sleepwalk into surveillance, which is exactly why banning this book makes strategic sense. Keep the population illiterate about the technology being used on them, and they never know to resist. Why China banned it. China didn't issue an official press statement saying, "We are banning this book." They never do. The book simply became unavailable, quietly removed from platforms, translation projects halted, academic citations discouraged. But researchers who tracked Chinese censorship patterns identified the specific triggers. 3 passages in particular. First, the direct comparison between democratic and authoritarian AI deployment speed, which frames China's AI program not as innovation, but as a tool of political control. Second, Suleiman's detailed breakdown of how a population could identify and resist AI-driven manipulation, step by step, practically. Third, and this is the one nobody talks about, a passage describing how a government's own AI systems could eventually be used against the government itself if control structures fail. That last one isn't a warning for citizens, that's a warning for the party. Chapter 9, The Hidden Core. Chapter 9 is titled The Extraordinary Juncture, and what makes it extraordinary is what Suleiman admits here, as someone inside the industry. He says, the people building AI are not confident they can control what they're building. Not the companies, not the governments, not the researchers. Nobody at the frontier level believes containment is guaranteed. And in this chapter, he describes a scenario, not science fiction, that he calls the hardest version of the problem. An AI system that is advanced enough to model human psychology at scale, to understand in real time what any given population believes, fears, and desires, and adjust information flows accordingly, automatically, continuously, without human operators making individual decisions. That system doesn't need a dictator issuing orders. It is the dictator. And Suleiman writes, quietly, almost buried in the footnotes, that the technical foundations for this system already exist. They just haven't been connected yet. The question isn't whether this gets built. The question is, who builds it first? What this means for you. Here's the uncomfortable part. Everything Suleiman describes, the surveillance architecture, the psychological profiling, the adaptive propaganda, none of it requires you to be in China for it to affect you. These tools are being deployed, in softer forms, in democracies right now. The ad algorithm that knows you're anxious before you do. The recommendation engine that quietly amplifies your worst fears. The employer who screens your digital footprint before the interview. The book was banned in China because China's government recognized themselves in it. The question Suleiman leaves open, deliberately, is whether your government would recognize themselves too. Suleiman ends the book with something unexpected, not despair, not a call to revolution, a single idea, that awareness is its own form of resistance. You cannot unsee what you now understand about how these systems work, and that, specifically, is why governments that rely on information control fear books like this one. Not the technology it describes, the clarity it creates. If this video made you think differently about AI, share it with someone who should. Because the only version of this future that goes well is one where more people are paying attention.